Dana White's tab came through, plain and simple, right? At some point, you got to pay the bill. At some point, you got to pay the mother effing bill. And now it's here. Because somebody that powerful, you mean to tell me there's not similar offers of similar money out there for another brain? Hey, what's going on, Fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D, the Wild Man, coming at you again with another episode of Coach D Media. Like I said before, my other channel got shut down, got hacked, so I'm starting over, building a whole new platform as Coach D Media. So let's go ahead and get into it. So today's conversation is going to be about Dana White and his decision to make Bud Light as their new brand for the UFC, getting rid of Modelo, if I'm saying that right. So the question is why? All right. If we never heard anything negative about Modelo, it's like it's been a good beer. You got Coors, you got Busch, you got so many other beers that you could have picked, but you picked Bud Light, arguably the most tainted brand out right now, with this being boycotted and all that kind of good stuff. So to take on that type of headache to the hardcore males is almost like a slap in the face, right? Now, let's be clear. Everybody has a love-hate relationship with Dana White, right? A lot of people consider him a man's man. Here's why. It's because back when COVID hit, right, he was one of the few businesses that say, we're going to keep going despite what's going on, despite what the government says, despite all these rules and regulations. If we can't do it here, we'll do it somewhere else. And he packed up the UFC and took it overseas, I think to Dubai or wherever he took, built a freaking, location to put on fights. You can only commend him for doing something like that. Okay? So, but on the other side, right, Dana White could be considered a bully. You know what I'm saying? If you don't go along with what he says, he tries his best to crucify you. He'll crucify you in the press. He'll do a press interview in a minute and burn you, right? He does not care, right? He'll hamstring you. He'll hold you hostage. He'll do a whole bunch of despicable things, as a fight promoter. So there's that love-hate relationship, okay? So a while back, he had this situation, right, where he had an altercation with his wife, right? They were at some kind of club or whatever, right? And some hands were thrown, right? Meaning Dana White struck his wife, right? Big blow up. TMZ called it and it went out, right? Everybody was talking about it. Now, everybody who's been trying to get at Dana White had an opportunity to get at Dana White, me included, right? How could this happen? He's not in jail. Nothing happened. He was able to get a pass. So the question was, how could he get a pass in this Me Too cancel culture? I don't know if I can even say that. In this cancel culture where everybody is trying to shut you down, right? If you're a male and you step out of line, you will get shut down if you offend somebody. All right. Now, we're in America. We love to see big people fall. The bigger you are, the more you want to fall. Look at Tiger Woods. Look at Mike Tyson. Look at Muhammad Ali back in the day. Look at every great person that we consider big and great. Once something happens, they want you canceled. Look at Kevin Hart, all the stuff. They're trying to get Dave Chappelle, right? If you say anything or do anything out of line, they want you canceled. Okay? Now, one of the biggest cancellations of a brand has been Bud Light. This boycott has cost Bud Light billions because what they did with putting TikToker. I'm not going to say the person's name because I don't know how that goes, right? But a famous TikToker who lives an alternative lifestyle was put on a Bud Light can. Men got offended. They weren't having it. They stopped drinking the beer. Okay, that's how it went down. And it's been going on for months, and it has ramped up to be one of the longest stories when it comes to something along this nature, right? So as a man's man, that we like to consider ourselves, we watch hardcore sports like football, MMA, sports that's considered, very, very aggressive, very, very alpha, right? We stick to certain things like meat and potatoes, the beer we drink, the car we drive, you know what I'm saying? The lifestyle we live, we drive trucks, whatever the case, it fits a certain criteria. Bud Light was part of that criteria. So when the lines were crossed from a man's perspective, we were done with it, right? Now, I don't drink beer, but I have a lot of friends that did, right? They were done with it, right? So when you look at Dana White and the brand he's built for UFC and MMA, we consider that a man's brand, right? This is what men do. We watch fights, drink beer. You know what I'm saying? We go to the sports bar, watch the fight, we're going to have a beer. 9 out of 10, it would have been Bud Light. Not so much lately, right? So now we're watching the sport we love, right? Now here we have Dana White putting the brand that we chose to boycott, not me specifically, because I don't drink, but that men who consider themselves alphas are on that side chose to boycott, right? Now Dana White is going to put that brand in front of everybody's face and give them no choice, because it's going to be on every commercial, because that's the thing, right? So now it's going to be a crossroad. If you put it in our face, will they buy pay-per-view? If you put it in our advertising, will they look at the website? When you put it in somebody's face, you're going to force them to make a decision. It may go good, it may go bad. And Dana White, I saw his interview where he gave his reasons for doing it. He says, despite all the situation, they're a good brand. They do a lot of good stuff. They could, right? They could. But like I said, that's not what men see. Men see what they did in our faces, right? And we're not having it. So now Dana White is going to be on a hook for a lot of stuff. So the question is, why does he want that heat? Why would he take that smoke? Now, granted, he's a I don't give a F kind of guy. Okay. But normally he's going to do what's in the best interest of his fans. If the fans like it, he's going to do it. I don't see the fans liking this for the most part. So why would he do it? I think, in my opinion, his bill is now due. He got a pass for what happened with him and his wife. He got a pass. Everybody who normally will go in on you, right? Some did, but then right after that, some were singing his praises, like Candace Owens. Candace Owens is not somebody we roll with, right? But now she's singing Dana White's praises. That don't make any sense unless you're bought and paid for it, which I think she is. Okay, so now they were like, Dana White, we covered you for this bull crap with you and your missus that went public, that you let get out there, right? Now your tab is due. This is what we want you to do. So as independent as I think Dana White like to say he is, with all these new deals being done with freaking WWE and their company that runs everything, that's bought the UFC, that's bought WE, they call the shots. Dana White may be the president, but they call the shots, and they say what you going to do is you're going to fix this Bud Light stuff. You're going to fix it. You're going to be the face of fixing it. That's a tall order for anybody, especially if you're a man and you're on the side of a alpha man, which means you like to get down, get busy, scrap, all that kind of good stuff, watch fights, eat meat, drink beer, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now you're in the position to where you have to sell a product back to the boycott masses who don't want it. right? You're going to have to find a way to shove that down our throats while we're trying to watch fights on pay-per-view, live TV, wherever you're watching it, live, wherever, right? We can't, if a venue wants to sell Bud Light and they have a whole bunch of other beer, we can care less. We can just not drink it. Right? But now, if you're going to throw that advertising in our face at the time when we're getting ready to buy a pay-per-view, that gets tricky. That gets very, very tricky. This is going to get very interesting, fight fans. Very interesting. I firmly believe Dana White's bill is due. He got a pass on this bull stuff. He got a pass on it, right? It was hot for a second, then it went away. It was back to business as usual. Now here comes this. Now I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. But it sounds very interesting that one of the biggest alpha male brands out there that's catered primarily towards men in every shape of the way is backing and being sponsored by one of the biggest boycotts of said men or said demographic. All right. That's kind of hard to get past. Right. So if he does it, kudos to him. All right. But he's already getting heat. Now I'm seeing it in certain, news press outlets, all that kind of good stuff. Now it hasn't gone viral. They're keeping a lid on it pretty good. I didn't learn about it till recently. Right. So they're keeping a pretty good lid on it, but because it's not being thrown in anybody's face. He said it in the presser and now he's getting off it. Right. He's not doing a whole bunch with it yet. But when that bad boy starts popping up on ads, in feeds, on tables, you're going to make your fighters hold it, yada, yada, whatever, how they do it. This is going to be interesting. Because now you get to be associated with what at that time Bud Light was trying to represent at that time. Inclusion on all levels. I get what they were trying to do. So, yeah. This is about to get really interesting. I think Dana White's tab done came through, y'all. Dana White's tab done came through, plain and simple. Right? At some point, you got to pay the bill. At some point, you got to pay the mother effing bill. And now it's here. Because somebody that powerful, you mean to tell me there's not similar offers of similar money out there for another brand that he could have easily took, Coors or whatever, and been just as fine money-wise? So he's saying it ain't about the money. It's always about the money. But now when somebody else is calling the shots and says, this is what you will do, and now you have to do it. So we're going to see. I don't think this is something you can push aside, fight fans. Dana White can say whatever. But there's some fights you should let die down. You shouldn't pick up that fight when your demographics, when you're directly against the demographics that buys pay-per-views and buys your tickets. My opinion. So we'll see where it goes. All right, that's all I got, man. I was like, well, shoot, this is getting kind of interesting. I guess I got to do this one. This may cost me, but it already cost me one time, so we'll see what happens next. All right, this is Coach D, doing what I'm doing, calling it like I see it, talking my share of shit. Till you hear from me again, peace out.